In many games, there will be a type of collision in which its functionality is determined if an object is inside or in constant contact with a collider. We will see this type of collision being used in many ways, like determining if an object is underwater, on top of ice inside the area of effect of an attack or spell, or for interactions with doors, levers, switches. All these examples require a way of defining if an object is within the range or in continuous contact with an interactable collider. In Godot, the main tool for dealing with these interactions will be areas. However, they are very simple and by themselves they fall quite short of the functionality needed to deal with many of the most complex of these interactions. The way areas work in Godot is by sending a signal when they are entered and another when exit. There is no signal for constantly monitoring if an object is inside them. Now, you will think that if you receive the signal of an object entering and has not received an exit signal, it can be inferred that the object is inside. And this is truth if you're dealing with the simplest scenario. Let's say a character's shirt turns red for as long as they're inside an area. There's no problem on a single area, inside red, outside green. However, what happens if there's two overlapping areas? You enter the first area, and the enter signal is sent. The shirt turns red. Then, because both areas are overlapping, you enter the second area without exiting the first one. And nothing happens because your shirt is already red. Now, we exit the first area, and the exit signal is sent. Shirt is back to green, yet you are inside an area which is supposed to make your shirt red. If these areas were water, you could no longer swim. Unity has various useful methods that deal with this limitation, like on-trigger stay or the various overlap functions such as overlap box or overlap sphere. Godot, however, does not have a built-in solution like this, which means it's up to us to come up with one. There is an official demo available called Bullet Shower with a similar scenario. In it, a counter is used to keep count of the colliders you come in contact with. We could use the same approach here and increase the counter by 1 on the enter signal, decreasing it on exit. The shirt color now should be based on this amount. If it's 0 is green and anything else is red. This solves this particular problem. Let's complicate things by using a slightly different scenario. Let's say the character gets damage over time. This time will represent the collision with a blue shirt and the damage with a red shirt. We'll use a timer that starts when there's a collision and stops when there's none. When the timer reaches 0, the damage occurs, represented by the red shirt. As we change colliders, you can see it keeps counting uninterrupted. This might be the intended behavior if the damage timer is meant to be continuous, representing something like fire. But what if they are meant to be two different attacks from different enemies? It may be weird if you got out of the first attack on time and still get instantly damaged by the other enemy's attack. We then need a timer for each area, but when you are in the middle of them both, how do you know which timer belongs to which area? We could add timers as children of each area, and having the areas be the one monitoring if the player is entering them, starting and stopping their timers as needed, then sending the necessary signals to the player. We essentially have reversed how collisions detect each other in this case. Now it's the area the one checking for the player instead, which, if there was more than one player, puts us back to square one. What if there's allies that are equally affected? Or if the attacks also damage other enemies? Maybe you can keep adding components or changing which areas monitors what, but there is always going to be a limit of what you can do if you don't solve the underlying problem at the core of everything here. And that is to find a way to keep track of all individual collisions in a way in which any object can know at all times which one is which. Luckily, Godot may have the tool just for that. Dictionaries works as containers of data. These units of data are entered with a unique reference called a key. A value can also be assigned to each key. These keys and values can be many things, including instances. This data can then be retrieved using its key. This makes using a dictionary perfect for keeping track of many objects that may be part of complex relationships, and not lose track of the individual objects or their relationships, which is exactly what we need. We can now use a dictionary to keep track of the areas. Let's simplify everything by stripping the areas of the timers and any script. We can do everything from the player now. We first add a dictionary to keep track of the areas. We'll call it the area tracker. Then we add the areas to the dictionary as we enter them and remove them as we exit. We can also create new timers for each area. The dictionary will take care of associating them to their respective areas. We'll do it by adding them as the values of the area. However, we will not add them directly as values, but as part of another dictionary. We can call this dictionary area data, and it can have everything that needs to be associated to the area we enter, including the timer. The timer will be added as a key on the area data dictionary. We then add the area data dictionary to the area tracker dictionary as a value of the area we enter. That way, both the area and timer are associated to each other will be keys. This will enable us to assign them both as variables whenever we can access the area tracker dictionary. Now, each player can properly keep track of everything individually. Of course, the use of the dictionary depends on the case. It all depends on what we need to keep track of and from where. But without a doubt, dictionaries will enable the use of areas and other colliders and objects in the most complex of ways.